conditioning in
Set
the
my
mouth.
garage for 6 months. Did you wear it yourself?
Oh, yeah.
You have a sweater on.
Fought a dog crew.
Turn the air off.
Around in my room.
Turn the air off.
Off of our breaker box all the way. Back to our house.
We should probably put a little lockbox on it.
It is a part of it.
Like in the schools?
Yeah.
Well, the wire was, because there's $400 worth of wire. It is 50-amp circuit.
Yeah, I suck down the water in there.
I'm making electric meters, man.
I call this meeting of the Only City Council, April 13th, 2026 to order. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing as the Reverend Roger Boyce is our opening prayer. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most Holy God, we ask this evening that your blessing, your wisdom, and your continued favor would rest upon these public servants as they, Lord, consider the important matters that will come before them, and that every decision that is made will be done with thoughtfulness, with an eye cast toward the future. And we know that you are the God who supplies everything from your generous hand. As we just ask that you would continue to surround this community with your peace, with your grace, with your strength, and bless all who call this area home. We just ask all of this in your most wonderful name. Amen.
Jesus, amen.
Thank you very much. Call the roll, please.
Councilman Miller,
Present.
Councilman Fehrenbacher,
Here.
Councilwoman Eichhorst,
Present.
Councilman Iyer,
Present.
Mayor Lambert.
Here. First item on the agenda is a public hearing for the 2026-2027 fiscal budget. Is there any comments on the fiscal budget? Any comments on the 26-27 budget? Seeing none, this public hearing is closed. Next item on the agenda is public comments and presentations, community garden. Smith?
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Megan Smith. I'm a student at OCC. I've lived here in the community for about 7 months now. Yes. So I propose that we start a community garden. It would benefit the community, but I would also ask for community volunteers and attendance. I'm a single mother. I have a full-time schedule. It is going to get a little lighter in the summer, but I will still be attending school, and I've been accepted to nursing school, so it will get even busier. So what we would grow would be vegetables, flowers, herbs, things like that. Depending on if the community garden was voted to stay longer, we could grow things like asparagus or fruit, put trees in, things that wouldn't bloom for at least 3 to 5 years. I think I spoke about who was involved, community, also Wyatt. He had meetings all day, so he couldn't attend tonight. But the process would be to be granted a parcel of land to play on. I spoke with the mayor before, and he mentioned a property on Boone. I also spoke with Mr. Iyer, and he mentioned a property on Silver Street. So I would be interested in something that had water. I don't necessarily want to cart in a bunch of water. We would be asking the community to help with plants. I'm not sure if we would get a budget or what quite, but tentatively, I've posted this online and asked like the community involvement, and I got about 30 responses. So if it was granted, I would make my own page and start adding the community into it. Also, we would like to make a little square in the garden for native plants, milkweed for monarchs, and maybe some water for frogs, and just some different things. I have had my own garden for about 20 years now, showing my age. I've built ponds and pergolas, and I enjoy being outside. At my house, I cannot garden this year. I can commit to about 2 summers for this project. Wyatt has decided that he can commit to longer. He will for sure be living in the area for longer. But yes, I would love to get a little spot going and get to know my community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comments? Any further public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentation of the consent agenda, which includes to approve minutes of the council meeting on March 23rd, 2026, approve and authorize payments of accounts payable April 14th, 2026, application for permit to sell Selly and City Park or recreational areas for profit yoga classes, an ordinance to amend section 17.44.020 use regulations of the City of Olney Municipal Code, raffle license from the White Squirrel Pickleball Association, and a resolution to support SWAN grant application. Any of these items need to be removed from the consent agenda?
Can we take 6D out, just like a little more
Yep.
discussion on that?
60 is removed. I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda sans 6D.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is 6D, an ordinance to amend section 17.44.020 use regulations of the City of Olney Municipal Code.
Okay.
Mr. Fairmont.
So just so I'm clear, are we just codifying what we'd already intended to pass at the previous meeting?
That is correct.
That's just what it was? Okay, I just wanted some clarity on that.
Yep.
It's just,
Dotting the I, crossing the Ts.
okay. All right, I
Question.
understand. Thank you.
Further questions or comments? Questions, comments, or motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Nay. This motion passes. Next item on the agenda is presentation of ordinances and resolutions. Request for a Class S liquor license for Whittletown Holdings, Hovies LLC for the 26-27 liquor license year. Mr. Grifsu.
Hello, I'm just asking permission to be able to get special liquor licenses for outdoor events. We have 1 to 2 possibly already ready to go, and, you know, kind of go as the rest of the year goes as far as any other things come up. We'd like to be ready to, you know, jump on things as we can.
Questions, comments, or motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Further discussion, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to authorize disposal of personal property owned by the City of Olney. Miscellaneous items from the fire department. Mr. Bradley.
In your package is a memo from Fire Chief Harmon and an ordinance authorizing disposal of a decommissioned Zodiac boat and fire attack hose and supply line. The chief's memo explains the reasons behind it.
Questions, comments, motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to authorize execution of cooperative agreement with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, Division of Forestry, Department of Defense. Mr. Brown.
In your packet is a resolution that would authorize us to enter into cooperative agreements with IDNR that would allow the fire department to acquire surplus federal equipment to support fire suppression, emergency response, and related operations at a minimal cost to the city. Also included in your packet is a memo from Chief Harmon and a copy of the agreements.
Question, comment, motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to authorize execution of a law enforcement mutual aid agreement. Mr. Bradley and Drug Investigator Seaton.
I'll start, Levi, if you don't mind. In your package is a resolution that would authorize us to enter into an intergovernmental agreement for law enforcement mutual aid. You also have a copy of the agreement in your packet. The agreement would join us with Lawrence County Sheriff, Richmond County Sheriff, Crawford County Sheriff, Jasper County Sheriff, and the City of Robinson Police Department for the purpose of providing coordinated assistance in drug enforcement. Essentially, this would establish a localized drug task force that would allow for the pooling of resources, since drug-related crimes often cross jurisdictional boundaries. Drug investigator Levi Seaton will only be collaborating with the other law enforcement personnel on larger drug investigations, and the city may decline mutual aid requests at any time if the department is too thin. This is a helpful opportunity for the city and is strongly recommended by Police Chief Bloomer and Drug Investigator Seaton. And Mr. Seaton's here this evening if you have any questions for him.
Investigator,
Do you have any questions for me?
any questions?
I don't see a downside to it.
I don't either. All for it.
Good luck. Motion,
Motion to approve.
second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to authorize execution of a redevelopment agreement between the City of Olney and A&B Venture Capital LLC. Mr. Bradley.
In October of last year, the council passed an inducement resolution for A&B Venture Capital and their redevelopment of 701 Southwest Street for their box storage unit facility. They have since submitted a formal TIF application, and a TIF redevelopment agreement has been drafted by the city attorney. A copy of the agreement and the accompanying ordinance are included in your packet.
Questions, comments? Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to support the Illinois American 250th commemoration. Mr. Bradley.
And the year 2026 year marks the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Included in your packet is a resolution proposed by IML that would show the city's support in acknowledging this occasion.
Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept bids for furnishing and delivery of concrete for street patch, curb, and gutter construction and miscellaneous construction. Mr. Bradley.
On April 9th, bids were open for the furnishing and delivery of miscellaneous concrete. We had 2 bidders, and we recommend accepting the low bids across the board from Tri-Systems. A resolution is included in your packet that would approve these bids.
Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept bids for furnishing and delivery of sand, pea gravel, crushed stone, and riprap. Mr. Bradley.
On April 9th, bids were open for the furnishing and delivery of sand, pea gravel, crushed stone, and riprap. We had 3 bidders, and we recommend accepting low bids. All bids would be awarded to Charles H. Carter and Sons, except for pea gravel, which would be awarded to Dolls. Your resolution is included in your packet that would approve these bids.
Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye. Those against, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to amend the 25-26 budget for fire and police training testing services. Mr. Bradley.
Due to some unexpected resignations in the police and fire departments, additional rounds of testing for fire and police were necessary this fiscal year. The resolution in your packet will take funds from the contingencies line item to cover the testing. And just as a reminder, we filled all positions in the fire and police, public works, we have no open positions.
Questions, comments, motion to approve.
How big is the contingencies line?
It starts off with $50,000. We are at
40,500.
Well, 40,500 is what's in the budget in that line item, but we have charged a few things actually against that line item and not moved them. So there's still probably 30,000 or so in there, I would guess.
Thank you.
Further questions, comments, or a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept bids for the Main Street resurfacing project. Mr. Bradley?
An addendum was added to the notice to bidders, and the bid opening was pushed back from April 2nd to April 7th. We opened bids on that date and had 2 bidders that submitted bids on the base bid and all additive alternates. We're pleased with the bid results and recommend accepting the low bid from Ambrol Asphalt at a total dollar amount of $6,527,853.40 for the base bid and all additive alternates. A copy of the resolution and the bid calculation are included in your packet.
Questions, comments?
Oh, I guess I got a comment on it. Looks like, so total cost with engineering and everything, if we accept base bid and all the alternates, it'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of 7.7 million, I believe. I know we haven't got to the financing hurdle yet, but looks like by the time we'll have to pay that bill, we'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. So we got a shortage at 2.7 million, and I know it's been discussed in passing of possibly financing that. I myself am just not too crazy about paying upwards of $250,000 in interest fees alone on that, if we do all those. I kinda like the idea of, removing alternate 4, 5, and 6 and their associated engineering. That'd bring our possibly borrowed amount down to 1.1 million as opposed to 2.7. And you'd be looking at maybe a year or a little bit better to zero on 1.1 million, which you'd only pay $40,000 in interest as opposed to 250,000 in interest. I think we can wait on those alternates myself, because I don't necessarily think it's a great time to price asphalt currently. Based on research I've done, if oil goes up 10 cents, asphalt goes up 7. So that's just my opinion. I'm probably a lone wolf on that, but I think surely we'll be done playing cowboys and Iranians one of these days soon, to where we could actually have an oil price correction and make the asphalt way more affordable. So I suppose my comment would be to remove alternates 4, 5, and 6 and their associated engineering for the time being until we actually have the money in the bank. In my personal life, I generally wait until I have the money before I make a large expenditure. I don't just run on the assumption that I'm just gonna run to the bank and get whatever I want. And so that would be my comment on it.
Further comments?
I can address 2 of your concerns, Councilman Miller. Spoke with our accountant, Jane, this afternoon, and from looking at these numbers, I believe we can come in at about half that interest. I think we are solid in our business district income. We are very fortunate to have had such acceptance when we imposed that upon the citizens of this city. It's generating an average of $112,000 per month. That is the average over the last 10 months. It has been very solid and reliable. So I agree, don't spend money you don't have, but we have a revenue source with the business district tax that has been very reliable, and it actually is, we had estimated when we first thought about the plan, that we were expecting 95 to 100, and we have exceeded that consistently. So that is an excellent source of income. 2, I know there's only 5 persons on the council, but I can say the majority of you were not here when we started hashing this project out. Mayor and I, you know, and it probably preceded me from 2019, but this has been a long time coming. Many man hours have been put in engineering and the contract and dealing with contracts, looking at different possibilities on where we wanted to place the pavement, and of course we've already placed our sewer, so that's all done. Now we're ready to cover that over. We imposed the 1% on the city citizens and promised them a fixed Main Street from Route 130 all the way out to Route 50. I believe we are in position to do that. I believe we can provide them with an excellent Main Street and the additional alternates of the side streets. Personally, we have this beautiful new Main Street, and I would like to have all of the main thoroughfares represented by alternates 1 through 6. Also be nice when you turn off the street, you're not immediately going back into a rough and tumble, road surface. If we were to accept the amount to borrow at 2.7, and we accept the 5-year term, knowing that we have no penalty to prepay, that amount of $51,000 could easily double to $100,000 and still leave us in excess of $12,000 per month. And over a year, that we would have another $100,000. That alone would yield a $110,000 savings in interest. We would end up with a total interest payment of $135,000 for a $7 million project. That is 0.8%. That is less than 1% of the total project to see the project fully completed and done, and then we move on and we have started addressing our other streets that need attention. I think the time is now, and we have, things are always going to be a stretch. We don't know the future, but we have to go forward with a positive attitude. And I would move to accept the alternate bid, or the base bid with all additional 6 alternatives.
Motion, is there a second?
I will second. I'd like to comment as well. I agree in principle that it is best not to borrow, but I believe that there are more than one considerations when you are talking about a public project like this. We do know that projects like this do not go up like the price of bread. I was also speaking with the mayor about this afternoon, is that just the difference between bids alone is greater than the amount of interest in total we're paying alone. So if we were theoretically to toss these 2 bids out right now and rebid this project, it's very possible that the additional, it's very possible that the next bids that would come in could be even higher than the total amount of interest that we'd be paying on this loan anyway. So I think it would be a huge risk to not go through with the entire project. That's the financial aspect to this. The other perspective to this is the political pragmatic one, is that if we end up not financing this, it's very likely that we'll end up taking money out of our residential road fund, which is very unlikely that any future council would put money back into that. And I, as a voter and a citizen, have been waiting for 20-some years to see nice residential roads in this city. And I feel much more secure knowing that we would be secure in being able to spend that money this year, knowing that the money's going to be here from Main Street. That's a political concern about it. So that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Okay, I got one more thing in response to Councilman Iyer. By removing 4, 5, and 6, we would still be fixing all of Main Street.
True.
I've walked every foot of those side streets. They are not what I would consider rough and tumble. They're smooth. So if you're saying, as opposed to a $250,000 in interest, you're gonna be at $135,000 in interest, so if you
Correct.
take that same math and borrow 1.1 instead of 2.7, now you're at $18,000 in interest as opposed to 135. I just don't like borrowing money in my personal life, or that translates to this seat, I guess.
Mr. Bridges, what would we expect that this to go up per year on average, based on inflation? 4 to 5%. What would 5% of $1.6 million be? Would it be about $80,000?
$560,000,
I mean, if we did,
$550.
if you
Half a
didn't do
million.
the 2.7 million, the 5% growth there over 4 years would be 582,000.
So it would cost us $582,000 not to do this, and we can have it paid off in 3 years, and then begin saving back money to do Butler.
Yes.
Do you think this is the most fiscally responsible thing the city could do, since we have a stream of income that we know for sure will cover those costs?
I mean, I think it's probably okay to do that, yes.
And then we're done, and we have fulfilled our obligation to the public that we imposed the 1% that we would grant them a good main, and that we are even giving them the additional side lead-in streets that will be a pleasure to drive.
One thing you might keep in mind also is, you know, we'll use that first 5 million first. We won't borrow the money until we have to. So this interest rate that we have on here is not, probably will not be the interest rate that we will have at that time.
Can I ask a question real quick?
You may.
Okay. All right, what's the other company?
How?
How paving?
How Paving? Okay, do they do concrete?
That was not what the bids was, so we can't really judge that.
Okay. All
So the
right,
bids were for asphalt.
all right. Well, look at the difference in concrete and asphalt, and maybe throw in a different bid. You could possibly get it done this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Now, Jane, if we take the 5-year loan and pay it off in 3 years, the amount of interest we'll pay is equivalent to the 3-year loan? Is that correct? Or would that be
Yeah.
incorrect?
Yes,
mean,
because they're
yes.
both the same interest rate.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
And again, my savings comes in with prepaying. I mean, and there's no penalty for doing so, and we have the adequate income stream. Instead of paying 81.8, let's pay 100,000. And that's where I'm coming up with $110,000 interest savings, because it would be, prepaying brings down the total cost of interest.
There's so many variables
Always.
that if you don't take this one, it's very likely that the interest savings by even cutting the project down to a smaller size, just by mobilizing and rebidding things, the cost of
And
increased
sometimes when
labor-
you kick things down the road, they never get done.
Exactly.
I believe they would, but we just don't know. Let's fulfill our obligation to this good city.
I personally find it a modest amount for what we're getting in aggregate with a very responsible 3-year payoff program. My philosophy is be responsible, but be aggressive. That's how I feel about it.
Further questions or comments? Further questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Iyer,
Yes.
Mayor Lambert,
Yes?
Councilman Miller,
I said my piece, yes.
Councilman Fehrenbacher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eichhorst,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is report from
done.
elected and appointed officials, status report. Mr. Pratt.
I just have a few comments on some projects. East Street Bridge, contractors completed brush removal, began concrete structure repairs, and is planning to construct a steel retaining wall starting tomorrow. On Elliott Street, that has not been started yet. Plan is to close Elliott Street Bridge after East Street Bridge retaining wall is completed, most likely late this week. Some brush removal and tree trimming will be done in advance of retaining wall work on this bridge. And it's the contractor's intent to have both bridges completed in 4 weeks. So that's good.
For summer.
Questions, comments for the city manager?
East-North Avenue water line replacement project, pipe is going into the ground there. We've been helping that outfit find sewer laterals and stuff like that. So that project is moving forward. And all that information was courtesy of Mr. Bridges, so.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the city manager? RCDC report.
feature of our community meeting last week. It was the very first one. We had an excellent turnout of residents. Altogether, we had almost 70 people, which was,
Great.
yeah. So,
Great.
very pleased, and things went well. It was really more a meeting to, for them to get some information about the community and the residents, and then also to give everyone else an idea on how this process will work. So it was really kind of an informational meeting. And so starting tomorrow night, we will start with going into our breakout sessions in different groups and things. So anyway, very positive comments on it. And if you are still wanting to come, and even if you hadn't pre-registered, that would be great. We would love to have you. They have extra notebooks for everybody. So anyway, I think it would be a good opportunity to hear what some of the residents have to say. So,
Is this at the community building?
it's the community building.
And the time again?
Food is available at 5:30, and then the meeting starts at 6 o'clock, and the plan is to go until 9, although last week we must have done well enough that we got out a little bit early. So anyway, but it will be over by 9.
Okay, thank you.
So, any other questions?
Thank you. Chamber of Commerce report, Ms. Iker.
Several different things, but I did also want to say we had the bulk trash day Saturday, and I want to recognize the city employees that helped with that. Jason Lathrop, Jeff Jansen, Mark Runyon, Tyler Coker, and Dallas Caldwell. It was a very successful cleanup. I remember the first time we had it. I don't remember the number of tires, but I would say we had probably about 1,000 tires there. And we are down to 462 tires that was recycled. It's a fun day, actually. People are so excited to get rid of their trash. I was directing traffic on Butler Street, coming in this way. And it's something that I hope is a yearly event for years to come. Yes.
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. There are some new board members. We're talking about Sounds of Summer coming up soon. Gunnar Michaels is the new president of the Chamber Board. And there will be a festival on May 29th and 30th coming up. So that's just, yep.
2 days.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Anything further?
Not right now.
I would accept a motion to enter into closed session to discuss the sale or lease price of real property, acquisition of real property, appointment, employment, compensation, and performance of specific employees, collective negotiation matters, and consideration of the sale or purchase of securities. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?